everybody. This week I am doing the spoiler review for the anime. So if you haven't seen this anime, you might want to watch the non-spoiler, which will be up a little later. Otherwise, you will be completely spoiled. And then what's the point of watching the non-spoiler? Am I right, people? And so anyways, here to give us the name of this anime, because I'm still confused how to pronounce it, is...
It's called Gekkan Shoujo Nozaki-kun. And it's about a manga artist.
Yes. Technically it's about the girl who's infatuated with him more than anything else.
Yeah.
And that was sort of the fun of it, because I don't think this guy could have carried a show on his own.
Yeah. Because he's super, like, what's the word? Not naive.
Deadpan?
Well, that.
I mean, he had a deadpan delivery for everything.
Yeah. There's a word for it, I can't think of it.
Well, as soon as I saw this guy...
What the fuck is it? Oh, it's gonna drive me crazy!
Well, it's like, as soon as I saw this guy, I was thinking to myself, oh god, no fun's gonna come from him, and that this is just gonna be another generic moe comedy.
And then you get to, like, halfway through the show, and it's like, oh.
It's so wacky.
He's super fucking oblivious to everything. So...
Yeah, but in its own weird way, it kind of works, and it kind of makes sense. He can write this stuff so well because he's an observer on everything. So he knows exactly how to cater to his audience. And it works when you've got, what was her name? Chio was her first name, and Sakura was her last name, I guess?
Yeah.
That always confuses me in Japan when, like, they just don't call each other by first names.
Yeah. Like,
seriously, get to know people. You've got her editing your financial future, for Christ's sake. I mean, just the whole dynamic between the two was funny. I mean, the plot is pretty much non-existent when you think about it. It is just kind of like, you know, in the first episode, she's going to be like, I'm going to tell him how I feel. But I'm not really going to tell him how I feel, and he's going to completely misunderstand me. And then the rest of it is just sort of their day-to-day adventures. Which are all fun, and that's the best part. Like, it's not trying to be anything it's not, and I like that. Well, like, and all the characters are very fun. There wasn't, like, a Deco Mori type character. It was just annoying and obnoxious. Everyone was likable. Yeah. Was there anyone who you didn't really like?
Not really. What's the girl who looks like a guy? I didn't really find...
She was confusing.
Yeah. I mean, she brought comic relief with the other guy. Yeah. But it's just like, I see what you're trying to do. And while I kind of like it, I don't really like your character all that much. Also,
wouldn't most girls be offended if people thought they were the opposite sex?
Yeah.
In which case, I gotta say, if she was, she's the prettiest boy I've ever seen in an anime.
Yeah.
Also, I did not like the slapstick between the two of them. I mean, I said this with the Chunibyo review. I'm not a huge fan of slapstick in things that are trying to be played realistically. And it's just sort of like here, it's like everything's being played very straightforward. Most of the comedy coming from the dialogue. And then he will just, like, drop kick her, and she'll be completely fine.
Because it's anime.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's just sort of like, you know, everything else was working. I mean, I love the dialogue in this. I love the way everyone talked. Especially even when you knew what the punchline to a joke was going to be. Because let's be real here, there's nothing uber spectacular that you've never seen before in this. But it just has such a way of delivering it, like the box joke. You knew exactly it was going to end with him making them stand on boxes. But because of the way the actors deliver their lines, it just made it so much funnier. Like, the actress who played Chio was amazing. I mean, look, I'm always going to be interested in the redheaded girl on screen anyways. But all of her deliveries and all of her, like, punchlines and deliveries just really were so perfect in this. And I love the fact that there wasn't much fan service, if any, at all in this anime.
Not really.
Which is good. Like, sometimes I think it goes a bit too much.
It's a nice change, that's for sure.
Well, to be fair, none of these girls were really designed overly sexual, which I like.
Well, until you get to the beach episode, that is, like, in the OVAs.
Yeah, but to be fair, even there, it wasn't as bad as some others. I mean, again, Sekirei, full on tit, so... You know, it played itself off very straightforward. I mean, not that the girls weren't designed clearly with some sense of attractiveness, but I mean, it wasn't overplayed.
Did you watch the OVAs?
No.
They're only like maybe 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
They're like 5. Like, the beach episode is funny because, the guy who kind of likes Seo Senpai, but doesn't, at the same time, is getting, like sworn by girls. And they're all rubbing up against him, and he's like, Seo, help me! And then the girls are like, oh, so you like them big, huh? And then he's like, what's the big deal? They're just lumps of fat. And it's like, so, that was fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, I love the fact all the dialogue was fresh. Like, nothing ever felt like it was ever rehashed too much. I mean, the pacing in this was so on point, so fast, so in your face. You never got a break, and it worked in something like this. Because you never really needed one. And I also like some of the commentating they did on the state of, like, romantic genre manga and stuff. You know, like, if you think about it, Chio's whole character is sort of like the stereotypical what you expect, and you see that get turned on its head. Like, that's why I like the ending. I know you and a lot of other people didn't.
Because it's so annoying.
You know, again, she was at the point where she could technically say it. She still had a little ways to go.
And she said, I love you! And then he just soon, like, closes in and he's like, yeah, the fireworks are nice too, I like them too. And you're just like, fucking god damn it!
In his defense, I could barely hear her eyes.
Because, like, through the whole show, you're just like, is she gonna say it? Is she gonna finally fucking tell him? Is it gonna work out between them? No! Fuck you! So, it's,
Yeah, but that wasn't the focus of the show.
I don't care.
The focus was
it's about having a relationship.
No, it's about how relationships actually go. That's why no one ever wound up with anyone at the end, even though it was insinuated. Because it's that idea that nothing really goes as straightforward as cheap romance novels make it look. And so because of that, you see that in the first episode where she's just predicting all these scenarios on how being in his place is going to go, and it turns out to be the complete opposite. In a related note, was I the only one who didn't totally get why she was into him in the first place? I mean, after they get to know each other, but he is very deadpan, and he looks almost 30.
Well, I think it's because she never really talked to him.
Yeah.
And she just looked at him from afar and was like, oh, he's kind of trying, oh, fuck, I love him now, god damn it.
And also, she is very short, so naturally they're always going to look older next to each other.
Also, like, the growth between the characters. Well, not so much the growth, but, like, just the, what's the word? Like conversations the characters have in, like, certain episodes. Like, episode 5, I think it was. I forget if it was 5 or not. The episode when, what's the red-haired guy's name?
Mitoyo or something.
Okay, and him and, Nozaki are in his apartment. And they're like, okay, we need to come up with a fucking protagonist for, like a lover for this guy. And they're just like, okay, who really gets this guy? Fuck, it's the guy in the fucking end!
It's so hilarious, but at the same time, it's actually kind of true.
Yeah. And then, like, they stay up all night fucking coming up with the fucking story for it. And then, what's her name? Chio comes in, she's like, what happened? And then they're just like, we stayed up all night writing something, and then she just looks at it and she's like, okay.
You know, if this was American, they would spend like 15 minutes just talking about the fact that they did imagine it being a gay relationship.
Yeah.
There was a lot of freedom in this to kind of go wherever they wanted with gags. Like, one of my favorites had to have been, and I fully admit this mostly works for me, was everything with him having the one editor and him having the previous editor, and the previous editor would just steal his ideas.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's exactly what I have to deal with as a comedian. Or another one I loved was the mixer thing. Like, you know, helping the redhead guy get ready for social interaction.
Oh, yeah, and then the fucking girl looks like a guy, comes in and just steals everything.
Oh, God, that was so weird. Like, who came up with that? I mean, obviously a lot of the point was to reverse character stereotypes. So, like, instead of the tomboy being all boyish, like, she's also got a beautiful singing voice, and it looked like the biggest boobs in the cast. You know, you had a lot of stuff like that, and everything also, I just like the way it was all played with each other. Like, it was always kept comedic. It knew it couldn't get anywhere dramatic, so it didn't really try to. So it just chose to stay funny, and it chose to really talk about stuff. Like, to me, it felt more like that movie that came out, Birdman, than like any other anime.
Being a movie that didn't deserve the Oscar for Best Picture?
I liked it. I rarely agree with the Oscars anyways, so. But no, other than that, although another weird thing, did you notice there was almost more sexualness put in the designs of the men than the women?
Yeah.
Was this predominantly targeted for females?
I assume so, yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of the romance anime we've covered so far have all, even though they've been predominantly for girls, been kind of gender neutral.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, so that would explain this. They almost look like the free characters. Oh wait, this is the same people, I think.
I think so too, yeah.
That would explain a lot. Although kind of weird. Oh, and the nude modeling thing, the modeling scene, that was great.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we could spend like 20 minutes just going on about the different segments. I mean, that was the other thing that was kind of odd. There was no like one plot through each episode. It kind of was this sort of like...
It was just a mismatch of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Which kind of worked, although it did bring me to the problem. How much time passes in this show? Like,
I have no idea.
Because it was like 1 minute they'd be talking, oh, we have like a week or something to get this deadline done, and then they're talking about it like that was all yesterday and they're already finished.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was sort of confusing in the first episode. He says, my deadline's due in a month, and then she at the end of it, she's like, we just met each other yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you can't really hold that against the show. They're trying to do an idea that feels very original, talks about a lot of stuff that might not go over well in a country where this is very popular.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really trying to just do what it can do and be amazing. So just very quickly before we end this, because I don't think there's much else to say here.
No, really.
Like, this anime, what you see is what you get.
Pretty much.
It looks very nice. The humor is very upbeat and polite. If you're looking for a big social commentating, you're not going to get that. But if you're looking for some interesting insight into kind of like what is manga writing and stuff like that, that stuff was cool too. I liked hearing that.
Mm-hmm.
Just very quickly, who was your favorite character and what was your favorite scenario they went through?
Honestly, don't know who my favorite character is, honestly. Because they're just, like, so great, like, all together. And, like, they rarely have, like, one or two just together. And, like, there's always, like, a group of three or more. Mm-hmm. So it's, like, very rarely do you see, like, two characters just discussing things. Mm-hmm. Probably, Chio, if I had to take, like, something away from it. Like, it's just so hard. I really can't choose, honestly.
Do you have a favorite little scenario they went through?
Not really.
Huh. For me, if I were to pick, yeah, it is hard. There are so many amazing ones. There wasn't really anyone that was unfunny. Some were a little bit more slower. Even at that, I can't even think of any. Oh yeah, having him have the roommate who was also a writer, that sort of made Chio feel threatened was pointless. That didn't go anywhere. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to say favorite character, I'm also going to go Chio just because the actress made the character so lively and funny. Mm-hmm. Like, that was a great performance. Mm-hmm. And favorite scenario, I'm going to go with the editor thing, again, just more personally for what I have to go through in my life. Mm-hmm. The thing is, if I were to give a score, you go first.
I'd probably give it an 8.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go one step further, I'm going a 9 out of 10. Mm. I thought it was that funny, that lively.
Actually, no, I'll give it a 9.
Yeah. I mean, there are nitpicks and problems here and there, but for the most part, this is a fun, lively series. Again, this is a spoiler review, so obviously you've probably checked it out, but it's worth watching again. It's that funny. Mm-hmm. And so anyways, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Alright, so anyways, click to like and click to subscribe, because like this show, I keep it lively.
No, you don't.
Shut up.